Museo, taller de Casapueblo in Punta del Este, Uruguay. The building is built of whitewashed cement and stucco. Casapueblo is a building constructed by the Uruguayan artist Carlos Páez Vilaró. It is located in Punta Ballena, 13 kilometers from Punta del Este, Uruguay. It was originally a summer house and workshop of the artist. It now houses a museum, an art gallery, a cafeteria, and a hotel. It was the permanent residence of its creator, where he worked and spent his last days. It was built around a wooden house made with planks found on the coast, called La Pionera, by Carlos Páez Vilaró. Although the style can be compared with the houses of the Mediterranean coast of Santorini, the artist often evoked the nest of the hornero, a bird typical to Uruguay, when discussing the style of construction. The building, which took 36 years to complete, has 13 floors with staggered terraces that allow one to have optimal views of sunset on the waters of the Atlantic Ocean. It pays tribute to his son Carlos Miguel, one of the 17 Uruguayan survivors of the crash of Uruguayan 571 Air Force flight. The flight crashed in the Andes on October 13, 1972. It is difficult to explain the inexplicable. Neither with words nor through photographs or filming can you give a real sample of what happens there, of what that place means. From a distance, a large peninsula called Punta Ballena jumps hundreds of meters into a blue and undulating sea that is calm compared to the whitish of its beautiful architecture. Casapueblo is that place where an inspired artist built his place in the world it will end, without thinking, that of many other dreamers who each day of their lives feel identified with him. The Uruguayan Greece, I heard him say to a man as he left the museum, that there is open to the general public. Although, if you go through the entire house, the restaurant, the hotel, and each of the twists that exist there, we will come to the conclusion that in reality the whole house is a great museum. A little history. Carlos Páez Vilaró was born in the Uruguayan capital of Montevideo on November 1, 1923. His artistic vocation led him to leave the world and get to know the biggest cities, until he returned to Uruguay in the 1940s to try to portray the candombe, one of his passions, and the Afro-Oriental rhythms that circulated in the country. His art led him to travel the world painting, sculpting and creating, above all things, and among many of his creations appeared Casapueblo as a sculpture in which it was possible to live, paint, and receive the friends who had given him the life and travel. The Casapueblo Museum Workshop is open 365 days a year and is visited by thousands of tourists from around the world. This sector of the house was seeded by its creator, the artist Carlos Páez Vilaró, with the desire to encourage the cultural interest of the entire region, so that within the museum can be seen almost all of his works, made throughout his successful career. Today, and for a long time, Casapueblo has been visited by different personalities of national and international events, mainly artists, painters, and sculptors who simply enjoy being there. Throughout its endless rooms are conferences, book presentations, and all kinds of events related to culture. Self-taught construction. There are author wines, there are copyrights and, of course, there is also one of the noblest arts that has survived to this day uncontaminated major architectural styles, the construction of the author. Casapueblo is that, an authorial construction that at first sight has not respected molds or previous schemes, but the sole inventiveness of a genius who set out to mold a sculpture and inhabit it. According to the story that was written inside Casapueblo, Carlos Páez Vilaró, without being an architect, was inspired by the hornero and the countryman who uses the adobe to build his own house. Thanks to the presence of the sea, the style of construction of the Mediterranean and its wide and white terraces looking at the horizon at dawn and its seagulls was inevitable. He was right, that guest who said that Casapueblo is the Uruguayan Greece. He just forgot one detail. Above, in the highest dome of this singular wonder, lives a wise and young artist named Carlos Páez Vilaró, who was the creator of this mythology with beings from the sea, the jungle, the carnival, and almost all the cities in the world that for years they have been living in this increasingly amazing place. Like us and join us at Extreme Collections for more fun and knowledge.